at the core of human beings, we're genetically and biologically coded to want and crave and desire one simple thing. And if you keep that one thing in mind in every interaction you have, you're going to be able to achieve what you need to achieve to work through any challenge and any problem you have. And that is really simple. All of us want to feel safe. That's it. And so ask yourself in every moment that might be a little contentious, a little challenging, a conversation that might be a little more difficult, someone who you want to inspire to come on your side. I'm going to get into word nuances as well. I use the word inspiration a lot, and thank you for all that had the conversation with me ahead of time. I apologize. We're probably repeating everything right now. But that word inspire is really key and critical too, because believe it or not, in the world of recruiting spies, if you try to manipulate, cajole, convince, influence, or persuade, you're going to fail majestically. It's about how do you inspire someone to want to? How do you inspire someone to want to betray their country and align with you? How do you inspire someone to want to align with you? So inspiration is unlocked from the other person. In order to do that, they have to feel safe with you. In all these moments that you're facing, ask yourself, so how can I inspire someone to feel safe to say yes with me? How can I inspire them to feel safe with aligning with me, being a partner with me? Now, here's the thing we all struggle with. If they don't want to, a lot of times we like to place the blame on them. Oh, they're just nuts. They're just crazy. They're wrong. This comes down to owning your behavior. What did you do? People that are really good at human behavior observation from their early childhood age are generally people that have been traumatized, bullied, come from unsafe households because they get really attuned to looking at the nonverbal behavior of those around us. I mean, I won't have anyone single themselves out, but ask yourself, if you grew up in a household or an environment that you did not feel safe from either a sibling, a parent, friends, or people around you in school, you probably are very, very good at doing this. You're probably very good at seeing unsafe situations, that intuition, because you're very attuned to someone's footsteps, whether they're walking down the hall like this, but on normal days are like this. These little nuances. In other words, we all do this too. Who knows when someone's having a bad day at work without them even saying a word? Got a spike in the behavior. That's intuition. So especially when you're feeling that creepy feeling, what the creepy feeling actually is, an incongruence between what's coming out of here and what they're feeling in here. Manipulators, they can use, I'm going to go through some beautiful language skills, some beautiful things to make the conversation about others and not yourself. And when I'm doing this, matter of fact, I was doing it with you. Everyone I was talking to this morning, what was I doing? I was asking what questions? And I was threading from the content you were giving me. It was all about your conversation, all about the things that you were curious, that you were wanting to share. And I was asking follow-up what questions, because what helps you keep the cognitive load going? It helps you thinking in terms of very specific things. We're weaving areas of topics that you wanted to talk about, because why? I am actively curious, and because I deeply cared about wanting to hear it here, it was congruent with out here. So hopefully I didn't come across creepy in any way, except right now you probably think it's creepy, because I'm describing what a normal human does in a great human interaction, making about the other person. We have congruence between what's coming out of here, making the conversation about you. We have congruence about how I feel about you in here. Here's a great rhetorical question I want you to ask yourself right now. So put what Einstein used to say, a thought experiment on. Think to yourself right now, I got my goosebumps thinking about it. So we got a doorway right over there. Look to the door over there right now for yourself. We're going to put ourselves in a mental place. Who could walk through that door for you personally right now? You get excited to see. Goosebumps are going. Could be past or present people you knew. And you just light up inside. Think about that for a second. Who could you not wait to see again? Everyone have someone in mind? Now ask yourself this. Not why. That can be very subjective. Because they're doing something. Ask yourself the most powerful what question. What do you think they were actually doing when interacting with you that allowed you, inspired you to feel that way with them? I'm going to share with you these keys to communication, I guarantee you they had at least one of. I'm going to iterate it throughout this. This is my keys to everything. I guarantee that that person, I got my goosebumps now thinking about mine, they were doing one of these four things, if not more. They were seeking your thoughts and opinions about things you cared about. And/or they were talking always in terms of your challenges, your priorities, your pain points, your friction points in life, and not theirs. This is the big one. They were non-judgmentally, actively curious about you and what's going on in your life. And when appropriate, they were empowering you with choices about how to move forward. Were they not all at least doing one of those things? I had a case agent after I retired call me in for a case out in San Diego and says, Robin, would you mind coming back, getting on one of these classified link calls and everything? We have a case we'd want to run by you. And I said, sure, I'd love to come in, strategize doing this case together. I still have my clearance. I get in there ready to do the hooky spooky spy shuffle. And he says, Robin, here's our challenge. I go, lay it on me. And he goes, well, we got this great recruitment operation. There's a guy on our squad that was part of us putting together this strategy. He was, matter of fact, he was the one that spearheaded the exact thing we want to do to recruit this spy. He just got promoted 6 months ago. He's now up at headquarters. He's overseeing our program. And now he's saying no. We don't need help with the operation. We need help with him. Why is he saying no to us? I said, that's easy. I said, for you four fine fellows that are working this case in San Diego, if this case goes sideways and it doesn't work, will you still get to live in San Diego? Yes. Will anything change in your life whatsoever? No. I said, so let's think about your friend who's now your boss up at headquarters. What's his number one priority right now, you think? He said, oh, that's easy. To get out of headquarters. Get promoted, go back to the field. I said, yes. I said, so if your case goes sideways from his position now, what's the likelihood he's going to be able to do that sooner or later? He said, I said, so you haven't done a good job allowing him to feel safe with yes. What are his issues and concerns with your operation that's going to keep him from saying yes? They said, I don't know. I said, that's what you have to figure out. Your operation's sound, but it's not in terms of allowing him to feel safe with yes, because he's trying to move on and get promoted. Because you didn't do what? You didn't figure out what his priorities are. You didn't talk in terms of his priorities. You didn't empower him a choice about how to move forward. You didn't validate his concerns. You just battled his concerns. Because here's another guarantee of human behavior. If you're not talking in terms of the priorities of other people, they're tolerating you at best. Our brain starts releasing dopamine when you start talking about things that are interesting to me. Now, people are very polite. They're very generous. But if you want the words to start making a difference, ensure the words are in terms of what's important to them. Here's the other thing, too. In the FBI, we're told you can't take notes when you're doing an interview, and it'll freak people out. But how do I remember? Here's another guarantee. If you're focused on what the other person's saying rather than what it is you want to say, you're going to remember everything they said. This is a very challenging to do. So in order to make the conversation about someone else, in order to be organically present, I said before, got to let go of your agenda. Now, not an agenda like you have your overarching things you're trying to achieve, but once you're engaged and you have that in the back of your mind, put it back here, put it in the back seat. In the front seat should only be them. You start with that one. I would only craft one opening question to start a conversation. Generally, was that spark of inspiration for who it is you are today. Cool. And then every follow-up what question was based on what they were saying. Now, what was coming out of their mouth? The only thing coming out of their mouth is their priorities.